everything that Mattis asked for, $700 billion this year, $716 next year. We have a 2-year budget for them that's as good as gold. We don't have to negotiate on that. Secondly, we did away with that because of that 2-year agreement and the fact that it was plussed up beyond the domestic spending. That did away with sequestration. That's huge. We don't have to deal with that. And then thirdly, we put in place for continuation another 2 years at minimum the funding for the community health care centers, children's health insurance program, things that we like as well as the Democrats, but were used as blackmail bricks for the past number of years. And so the only thing that they really have to deal with now is the basic government spending plan. And if they shut us down, they don't shut down the military this time. They don't shut down some of the Medicare and Obamacare repeals and fixes that we did with this procedure as well. And ultimately, we kept the discretionary budget area of our entire budget at under 2011 spending levels. So the significant increase in spending for the military, the special funding that went to Houston or Texas, Florida, Puerto Rico, Louisiana, where the floods and the hurricanes were, and also the western states with the fires, we also spent for that. So that's where the spending primarily comes from. I didn't like it. I whipped, when I was first whipped this week after we passed our own CR, came back realizing the Senate wasn't going to even take that up. I whipped no on their proposal, and then ultimately talking with the Speaker and getting some promises from him on some things that I want to do, specifically in the area of pensions and reform there. I went undecided and then held out at that till the final moments yesterday when we saw that there was no change that was going to come from the Senate, and we didn't have really any opportunity to stop it. So let's move it forward and live to fight another battle with less control. And remember, we also got them to take DACA off the table.
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi didn't agree to that, but Chuck Schumer did. So Nancy Pelosi was made simply a puppet, standing up there speaking for 8 hours and speaking at about 4 o'clock yesterday morning, boring us to tears with this DACA thing.
Yeah. In fact, Tim, there's something. Were you present when she spoke? Were you in chambers when she got up and did her 8 hours and talked about her grandson?
Absolutely not. I was back in my office doing work.
Well, so let me play this for you, because this disturbed me on so many levels. Derek, do you have that track of Nancy Pelosi talking? And she says something about her grandson, and I was mortified. I'm thinking, well, I'll let you hear it, and I want you to comment on it. Go ahead and play it, Derek.
I'm reminded of my own grandson. He's Irish, English, whatever, and Italian-American. He's the mix. But he looks more like the other side of the family, shall we say. He's and when he had his sixth birthday, he had a very close friend whose name is Antonio, who's from Guatemala, and he has beautiful tan skin, beautiful brown eyes, and the rest. And this was such a proud day for me, because when my grandson blew out the candles on his cake, they said, "Did you make a wish?" And he said, "Yes, I made a wish." He said, "Well, what is your wish?" He said, "I wish I had brown skin and brown eyes like Antonio." So beautiful. So beautiful.
What kind of a grandmother wouldn't just tell her grandchild, "You're beautiful just the way you are"?
Absolutely. That's the beauty of this country. All colors, all shapes, all sizes. We've come from many places. In talking with a multitude of foreign nationals who were in town this past week for the National Prayer Breakfast, 140 nations were represented at that prayer breakfast. Over 3,000 people. I had Ukrainians, Koreans, Japanese, Romanians, Ugandans in my office, Rwandans, and had dinners with them, and all of them said the same thing. America is a beautiful place. You've melted together to make a country that's strong, that sets the example for the world. And I'm not lying about that when I say that. They weren't talking about a white-skinned American. They weren't talking about a black-skinned American, a yellow or red-skinned American, or whatever. They were talking about America. And if Nancy Pelosi can't see the beauty in her own grandson,
exactly,
and have a chance to say to him, listen, hey, don't get caught up with that. That Guatemalan, he's an American. He's enjoying America. You enjoy it as an Italian. and she is absolutely absurd in what she says when she even tried to read the Bible and quote out of context, and she couldn't find it. First of all, she had to somebody else had to find the scripture passage. But it's just an arrogance that she exudes, and she really divides America as opposed to uniting America together to be what we really are, a great nation, indivisible, under God, made up of many, many people and many, many nation groups, but committed to a liberty and more than just a contract, a covenant together that we will serve each other and do the best for each other with the abilities that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said.
The logical extension would be that Nancy Pelosi would go get a permanent tan or something like that and contacts to give herself brown eyes. I mean,
permanent Botox.
Yeah,
she's already done
that's
that.
True.
All right. Well, so Tim, last thing before we leave, I'm going to always hit you because this is my pet peeve. Now that all these other things are happening, is there any chance we can get the grid fully protected from EMP or solar flare? Is that coming through? I have to ask because I worry.
Prod.
I just worry.
Well, I tell you what, keep prodding, but I tell you what, with the funding level we finally gave to Mattis, and I told you, I would have told you last week, I guess. We could get on. I would have told you about the meeting that we had with Mattis and Tillerson together. I've never sat as enthralled with government officials telling us the absolute truth about what the world situation is like and what needed, and Mattis saying and looking at his friend Rex Tillerson, and they clearly are a tag team together, and I think a real asset to the president. But he said, listen, we tell our friends and our allies as well as our enemies, work with our diplomatic team, work to the best of your ability to achieve diplomatic success, because if you don't, you'll have to deal with me, and that will be the worst day of your life.
Yeah, gotta love that.
Mattis now having the resources he needs, you can bet that the grid, etc., is part of the solution of protecting this country and using our military might that isn't just the wonderful, committed boots on the ground, but it's the technology and the armaments we have as well.
Right. Well, Tim, thank you so much for calling in. My apologies for our phones being down last week. Love having you on. Anytime, you are welcome here. So thank you, sir, so much for all you do.
Have a great day and keep enjoying the tax cut.
Thank you, sir. All right, take care. Okay, and to everyone else, go to thedailydrift.com. It's the news
you need to know.
See you next week.